Hello everyone, how you doing? Yeah, we're doing this Wednesday this week. I admit it was one way or another. It was going to be a lot. Oh, hello TLA Productions, how you doing? Also in chat, hello GON author and Megumin, how you doing? How am I? I'm doing fantastic actually. We had a good day. Hello Chanka, well, welcome in. Oh, and hello Garvey, how you doing? Right, yeah, no, it's a bit of a light. Oh, and Ramen. Yeah, hello everyone who's watching. Yeah, gonna be kind of a light week for streaming this week because, you know, I don't know, I'm trying to find the time this week. I wasn't gonna stream tonight, but then tonight's topic came up, or rather, you know, the retards who made it came up. So we're gonna have some fun at their expense today. Well, this might not be a full 3-hour stream, but we'll see how long this takes to discuss, you know? Doing fine, just finishing a high grade. That's cool. Which one, by the way, if you don't mind my asking? Hope I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I hope you're doing great too. Oh, and hello Keen, you too, and you Dragon Ranger. How you doing? Am I the only one who despises Gundam but loves Legend of the Galactic Heroes? I don't know, there's probably some out there. You know, opinions vary. I also promise you guys, as much as this is tangentially about Gundam, you know, this is going to become a Gundam Yap stream every week. It just happened to pop up that this was the particular community that made this happen. You know, it was like, you know what, this is a problem and we need to talk about it. They just happen to be the one to incite the rant. This is not specifically meant to be a Gundam stream. I've seen what happens when streamers become a little too dedicated to one topic they ever discuss. And that's generally when that topic, you know, falls off or whatever. They've got nowhere to go. Look at Destiny streamers with Destiny dying. A lot of Destiny streamers are legitimately scared right now because, well, Bungie's dying, basically. The company's dying. Fucking Destiny 2 is below 10,000 players concurrently on Steam. And Marathon is dying. It's like dying, you know, fucking right after birth. Gundam is full of shenanigans. Yeah. I love the hell out of it though. Love the hell out of it though. And have ever since at least 2001. I will admit that like that first watch along of Wing was rough, but you know, it really was the other Gundams I watched within a year of Wing that got me to love it. They're counting every time they call Zeon fascist. I mean, look, these people don't know. Listen, these people legitimately don't know the difference between, the difference between fascism, socialism, monarchism, communism. Well, actually, wait, no, they can't know what communism is because they're always saying communism has never been tried. So it's like, yeah, they don't know. Like they legitimately think like, you know, oh no, Stalin wasn't really a communist, you guys. Yeah, no, he fucking was. Deal with it. You've been watching Zeta Gundam and you're right, fuck the Titans. Man, the Titans are one of those factions nobody likes, you know? I mean, some people like the Titans, but the people who like the Titans lean full bore into the war crimes, which is basically like how you got to go about it, kind of. It's always funny to me when people try to glaze the Federation as like the good guys, when it's like, and it's why the Zeon fans are cooler. Because the Zeon fans are like, yeah, we dropped that colony. Fucking what of it? We'll fucking do it again. Stalin is pure scum. Yo, listen, the greatest thing Stalin ever did for mankind was die. You know, in a puddle of his own piss, having a stroke, his fucking, cocksuckers too afraid to, come and help him because they didn't want to disturb him in his sleep. And then there's also the stories that, as his life ended, he died screaming because he died screaming about how the devil was coming up to claim him. True story. He saw himself getting dragged into hell in the last moments of his life. Very, very good end for Stalin or any communist. Well, the internet usually doesn't have a liking to someone multi-aesthetic. It's easy to specialize, by the way. I could, I like real talk. I could have stuck to the Warhammer thing. Like I probably easily could have, but I don't want to. I don't want to be a one-trick pony. I don't know. Like to me, it feels like if I did that, eventually I'd hit a point where I'm gonna want to do something else, and that's gonna become difficult, and I don't want to do that. Like I want to be able to talk about, whatever comes to mind, whatever comes to mind, whatever's interesting me at the time. So I'd rather not specialize in one thing. Well, again, like some people want to specialize, that's cool, but I don't want to. I feel like when I reach the point where like, if I'm doing one thing and I get super bored with it, or the one thing just keeps pissing me off and I don't want to cover it anymore, then, breaking away from it starts to feel weird. And then that would just take away the desire to, stream altogether. Like for example, me not covering Games Workshop anymore in YouTube videos because talking about Games Workshop is just fucking depressing because all they do is fuck up anymore. Stalin died unloved, pissing and shitting himself up being dragged. Yeah, exactly. You can look that up. A lot of the last words of a lot of famous communists are recorded, and they all died screaming. Like, well, evil people like communists tend to, see what's coming in the final moments. It's good not to be a one-trick pony. Go from one to another. It keeps things more interesting. Yeah. And you legitimately experience more in life. That's why, like, on a side tangent to, what we're going to talk about eventually today, the whole thing of, getting called a grifter because I'm, interested in multiple things and talk about multiple things, and I'm not talking about those things all the time. I legitimately don't understand that attitude that if you don't talk about something all the time, you're not legitimately interested in it. I really don't get it. Like, I can't fathom the idea that people think in order to be a fan of something, you have to dedicate 100% of your attention to it at all times. I really don't get that. Like, my attention to things I enjoy, as any normal person, comes and goes. Like, hey, look, I'm in a mood for this today. It's like the old saying about, like, okay, no. Okay, I was gonna bring up the eating vanilla ice cream all the time allegory, but I could legitimately do that though. So no, that's a bad allegory for me. I really am a creature of habit with food when I get right down to it. Like, holy shit. I could eat relatively the same thing just forever and be totally okay with that. I don't know. Maybe I am weird like that. I'm kind of disproving my own point here, but you know what I'm saying. Interest shift or else things get stagnant. Yeah, no, seriously. It's kind of why I'm glad, like on the Discord server, we do the 3 different watch along nights, because I feel like just dedicating it to one and then constantly, sticking to that one for weeks and weeks and weeks on end would probably kill my desire to do it. Like, I'm glad, like right now on the Discord server, we're switching between, Godzilla on Saturdays, Attack on Titan on Sundays. We just started that last week, and then we're continuing Gundam on Mondays. And I don't know, I feel like that keeps it interesting. For me anyway, I can't speak for others. It keeps it interesting. It varies things up, more different experiences that you can process in your brain and, think about. What are you guys watching right now on Discord? Okay, these are all at 9 p.m. These are all at 9 p.m. Forgot about Friday. Well, I mean, Chonka, you host the Friday one. I mean, I'm busy on Fridays, so yeah. You host the Friday one. So that's you know, I can't attend that one because I stream on Fridays. But yeah, no, but right, Ramen, it's what's it got? These are all at 9 p.m. We're currently on the Heisei era of Godzilla. That's the 80s to 90s era. That's Saturdays. Sundays is we just started Attack on Titan. We're 6 episodes in. And then on Sundays, we are halfway through Gundam Wing. Just fucking with you. I figured. I still want to explain anyway. I mean, come on, man. You're one of the homies. I don't want you to feel forgotten. Cows, chickens, or pigs. I have to choose one, and the other two are gone forever. What do I pick? Cows. Wait, I have to choose. Okay, cows. Yes, because if I had to go the rest of my life without a hamburger, I'd probably shoot myself in Minecraft. Enjoy multiple things. Some of my favorite things are dinosaurs, Warhammer Fantasy, Battletech, baking, minis, painting. Yeah, exactly. I don't get doing one thing forever or discussing one thing forever, you know, whether that's in private or, you know, or, you know, on a public forum or platform like this. I really don't get that. Like, even when I had the Warhammer 40K, the Black Templar persona, you know, in Avatar. Even then, I didn't discuss Warhammer all the time because that would just get boring to me, even as much as I love it, you know? And cheese, yes. You say Godzilla's full of peak Kaijiri machine. God fucking damn it, Megaman. God fucking damn it. Why are you like this? Why I gotta bring up the Kaijirium at every fucking turn? Oh my God, you're getting worse than Ash about it, and that's saying something, all right? Because Ash was the one who came up with that meme and, you know, wouldn't let it go. Mazers, yeah, no, Mazers are cool. Listen, I love how, talking Heisei Godzilla, I love how, you know, it was kind of in, what do you call it, in the Showa era, it was kind of a slow burn to the more ridiculous stuff that happened, right? It took until the movie Mothra for something like the Mazers to show up, which was like, Godzilla, okay, we're going by canon films. Godzilla Raids Again, Rodan, Varan, Mothra. 5 films for, like, you know, a directed energy weapon to show up. And then in the Heisei era, they're 1 movie in, technically 2, because yeah, it's a direct sequel to Godzilla 54, sure. 1 movie in, and you know, the Super X shows up. Fucking Harrier battle tank, Harrier super heavy battle tank, you know, that Japan just built, you know, just in case, right? Just in case. And I also want to point out, I am very pro remilitarization of Japan. I think it's patently ridiculous that Japan was not allowed to have an offensive military when Germany was. And I don't care about the whole Cold War thing, because Japan is unironically closer to Russia than Germany is, and Germany was allowed to have, you know, an army post World War II, but Japan was only allowed to have a self-defense force. As somebody who was incredibly, like, remilitarization of Japan, I think that it's incredibly funny to me, the idea that, oh, they've got all kinds of, like, next level shit just hidden, just in case, you know? It kind of reminds me of the, what do you call it? I don't know if y'all heard of this. Japan and their, what is it called? Their helicopter destroyers. They're just aircraft carriers. But in order to skirt around the arms limitations they have to deal with, they call them helicopter destroyers. And They just so happen to also be able to fly the Harrier variant of the F-35. You know, no, they just happen to be able to do that, guys. Thankfully, Sine is going to amend all that shit. Yeah, no, I'm so glad they're going to amend all that shit and amend the Constitution. They really need to. Am I the only one who wishes there was more masculine leads in anime? I hate Bishonen-looking protagonists. I mean, no, I don't mind. I don't think it's a bad thing. Anime and Japanese media in general has a good enough spread of masculine and feminine male characters. It's perfectly fine. Like, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that, you know? I don't know. I think it's like, I think the whole, I don't know. Because I will admit though, over in the West, we have this, though, by comparison, we have this major problem. We have too many female protagonists in the West these days. And yeah, that's going to get better, but it really is a symptom of, you know, the death spasm of wokeness as the market begins to recorrect itself. Like, oh shit, what was, have you seen the main character of, Starfleet Academy? She literally looks like, you know, exactly what you would think a 40-year-old dysgenic female millennial, you know, single with a bunch of cats would look like. Probably posts on Twitter a lot about, you know, fuck Trump, fuck ICE, blah, blah, that shit. Yeah, go look up a picture of her, of the captain of the ship. Like, there's legitimately a, like, screen cap, there's a scene in the show, in the first episode, where she's kinda lazily woman lounging on the fucking, you know, captain's chair on the bridge, doom scrolling space social media. I'm not even making it up. I want to know who came up with that. Okay, well, we know who came up with that fucking show. It was that Kurtzman guy. We need that Kurtzman guy to be, you know, we need him sacked. Hey, guy who bought Paramount. I forget your name off the top of my head. The chud billionaire who bought Paramount in 24. I get you were probably too late to stop Star Trek. You were too late to stop Star Trek Fleet Academy or whatever it's called, Starfleet Academy from being released. I get that. Can you fire everyone involved in this production? And not only fire them, but black bag them and throw them in a hole somewhere at some black site where, you know, they'll never be found and they'll probably starve to death in their prisons when we lock the prison behind us and, like, you know, forget they're there. Could you do that? That'd be great. Then we'll never have bad Star Trek ever again. But I think even then we're gonna need at least 5 to 10 years without new Star Trek to in order to fix it. I still feel like Star Wars, if they Star Wars, if they clinch the landing with you know, some of the stuff they got upcoming, might do better, because if they can move quickly to a, you know, pro fan optics and releases, they can do fine. Star Trek is fucked. Legitimately 8 to 10 year long break minimum, and they need to fix Star Trek. Like, to let people forget about some of the shit they've been releasing, and then maybe they can bring it back. If they just keep making it at this point, they're just gonna be, like, making the situation worse. Same with Marvel and Star Wars. I don't believe that with Star Wars. I feel like there's enough hunger for good Star Wars stories that they can fix it, but I'm gonna be honest about The Mandalorian and Grogu coming out soon. Even if it's good, on the off chance they were able to protect it from Kathleen Kennedy's bullshit during production before they fired her, Disney will probably have to take a financial loss on the chin. I feel like even if it's good, Mandalorian and Grogu will not do well at the box office. If it does do well, it will barely break even. And I feel like Disney is going to have to be content with that kind of success for a little while and have to soldier through it to build Star Wars' good name back up. Fun fact, Roddenberry's son says Star Trek license going to Paramount was a huge step in fixing the current Star Trek. Oh yeah, but it was specifically, I think he was talking about the guy who acquired Paramount, like a certified right-wing chud billionaire. Like, I wish I could remember his name off the top of my head because I'm awful with names, but yeah, no, like legitimately, heads are gonna roll at Paramount, and unironically, probably rolling already. I would not be surprised if they're already rolling at Warner as well, like in the lead up. Remember, Battlefield 6, the dyscalculus strikes again. I thought 6 was 3. Battlefield 6, remember, now Battlefield 6 ain't doing good right now, right? It's falling on its face. And the reason it's falling, okay, but the reason it did so well at launch is because when it launched, they pivoted fucking hard from the woke bullshit that ruined Battlefield 5 in 2042. And the reason they did was because they were selling the company at the time and wanted to guarantee that the Battlefield name could still move units. And then what happened in the meantime was the EA executives, the retard EA executives still pushing live service, decided to push most of the development to RedSec and not actual future releases of the core Battlefield game. And that plus some ridiculous balance choices with movement have basically fucked the game. They fucked over the people who bought Battlefield 6 at launch, who actually liked it, for the Battle Royale crowd who aren't fucking interested. And that's why Battlefield 6 is doing bad right now. But it has nothing to do with wokeness, it has to do with game balance and marketing. It has nothing to do with Battlefield 6 being woke. Which, although Battlefield 6 has now failed, that is still a step in the right direction. I'd rather games fail from things like turning them into live service games than from wokeness. You can fix marketing rot much more easily than you can fix cultural rot. That's just a fact. Marketing to the wrong audience. Yeah, they marketed it to the battle dad, as the aiming community likes to call them, in a derogatory sense. I say it in an appreciative sense. They marketed it to, the battle dads who like to, play a couple rounds of Battlefield to unwind from work and stuff like that. That's who they marketed Battlefield 6 to. And that was the crowd that got it money. And then they marketed it once again to the aiming community sweats. And the game fell off because all the people who actually wanted to play it aren't playing it now because now it's been reconfigured for the sweats. Now, maybe they'll turn that around. Maybe they still have time. I don't think they will. I think the damage in terms of marketing has been done, but it's still better damage to fix than the cultural rot caused by wokeness. I will say I can see culture start to heal. Night of the Seven Kingdoms is a step in the right direction, my opinion. Yeah, no, I'm so happy for that show. I haven't seen it yet. Because I'm normally a sci-fi guy, right? My big thing is watching sci-fi shows, reading sci-fi and that. I don't do fantasy as much as sci-fi. I really want to watch Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I have yet to watch it, but I want to watch it. Speaking of community, should we get to the meat of the... Oh, okay. You know what? Actually, Ramen, that's a shitting on the aiming community. Love you guys, by the way. It's funny I'm still rent-free in y'all's heads. Speaking of community, we need to discuss today's topic. Right, that is community versus fandom. Now, okay, we're gonna start with the core premise, okay? We're gonna start with the core premise, and then we're gonna go into the inciting incident. The core premise is the dichotomy between community and fandom. Fandom is a long-standing concept since the existence of fans of anything, right? Community is a corporatized, communist, new culture and new culture idea from around 2014, 2015. Listen, you think I'm wrong? There was no such thing as the community for anything before bare minimum 2015. That was when you started to see this shit pop up. And I'm gonna be honest, it feels like it feels like if where it came from was probably like again, that very woke corporate culture kind of thing that began taking over around that time in the Gamergate era. As journalism and corporate journalism, corporate culture, and political culture, all that stuff started forcibly moving toward that, because believe me, wokeness was forced. Nobody wanted it. But as it got forced in, that kind of very, we need to police fandom concept came up, and that's where the concept of the community came from. All started when Tumblr nuked itself and the crazies flooded other spaces. Yeah, honestly, that's probably where it came from. The very isolated, isolated franchise cliques of Tumblr that were kind of isolated on Tumblr. They were very isolated. I'd honestly argue when Twitter was, but when the woke scene, the woke lefty scene on Twitter was bolstered by that, is probably where it really took off, and when it took off there, that was when the very insular corporate groups started catching on to it and think, oh, these are the people we need to cater to. And that's when the idea of the community was cemented, Because I can guarantee you, as somebody who's been into a lot of shit for a long time, the concept of the community was never uttered from somebody's mouth. Not once. Community before 2015 was kind of like, okay, let's use myself as an example, because the closest example to most things is yourself, right? My Discord server. My Discord server is a community, right? It is an online community. We're a bunch of retards on a Discord server, being a bunch of, probably autistic, probably not diagnosed, but we're pretty sure, bunch of retards on the internet, right? That's a community, okay? It's closed off. It's closed off. It's insular. You don't really get in unless you actively join. You have to join the Discord server to get in. To really get in, and not saying I don't want people to be, I don't want. How do I word this? I don't want people to be excluded. I don't give a fuck if somebody joins my server, my worst enemy or whatever. There's a few of my, air quotes, worst enemies who I have banned, but that's because they misbehaved. If they'd been able to behave themselves on my server, I would have been fine. But, some of the people, some of the, Gundam community figureheads, I'm gonna, air quotes. I will always say community with air quotes because it's really not a thing when you get right down to it, and we'll discuss that in a bit. But if they wanted to try and join my Discord server, I wouldn't give a fuck. They can. If they could behave themselves, I don't think they could. More often than not, we've seen these people have zero social decorum outside their own, concept of what a fandom is like. But if they could behave in my Discord server, I wouldn't give a shit. So yeah, my Discord is an insular thing, but I'm not gonna say no to somebody joining if they can behave themselves. But generally speaking, that is what a community is. It is a small, insular group, and online communities do exist. But to say something like a community for, yeah, oh, I'm okay. Oh, Jesus. We got bad weather today, and it's, fucking my sinuses over. I think my sinuses just shifted. Oh, God. I need to do something about that one day. About my sinuses, man. Fuck that shit. But, so, the idea that you can say something large, something like a fandom, or like, no, not fandom is the wrong word. Something like a franchise. Warhammer, Star Wars, Gundam, Star Trek, name it. It doesn't matter. Has a community. If you say they have a community, no, they don't. No, they don't. What they have is a small, insular group, very much motivated in being insular and exclusionary, probably left-wing, because let's be real here, the idea of fandom community is a left-wing concept. So, yeah, what the hell? Hold on, everyone, hold on. I will be right back. I'll be right back real quick. Sorry about that. I should have known that was a wrong number when they were calling me at 7:37 at night, because like, holy shit. No one official still calls past 5 o'clock. Oh, I'm glad I have my fucking phone muted though. But you would call it a cult? Kinda? It's certainly toxic like a cult. And that's the thing too, it's kind of weird. Like, well, okay. Let's talk about what happened. All right, we could talk about, like, there's all kinds of people. There's all kinds of people from all kinds of fandoms, ones I'm in, who have experienced this as well. Don't get me wrong. People try to paint me as, the sole example of this. It is not the sole example. It happens to lots of people. Let's get the screen out, everyone. Let's get the screen out. Okay, so let's talk about let's get into this with the inciting incident. Okay, this is what made me want to do this stream today, just because of how fucking funny it was. And the basic thing is, so we've got this, this person, Sylvie Close, mecha VTuber, all right? They're gonna come up again later in this discussion. But for now, I saw this video they made, like she plays, she plays Gundam Battle Operation 2, and made this clip of a GM from 0079, just shit mixing Barbatos, which she made that, and then I recalled off the top of my head an anecdote that I'd heard that the creator of Iron Blood Orphans said that Barbatos, that's the lead Gundam of Iron Blood Orphans, is only powerful in his own setting, and that he would lose to a GM in a fight. Like, I remember hearing that as an anecdote, right? In my trawling of the internet. And I was like, I just decided to bring it up, specifically wording it in such a way that if, as you can read, if I recall correctly, let's zoom in a little bit. Like, if I recall correctly, like very clearly I'm saying this, if I remember how I heard it, I'm not proclaiming to say this is like, absolute truth, but it's what I heard and what I remember. I pointed out how the creator said Barbatos would lose to a GM or any other Gundam. And then I decided to do this just to make a joke and call it a canon accurate fight, right? And I want to point out, by the way, if there's two major groups of Gundam tourists, those who got in with Iron Blooded Orphans and those who got in with G-Witch, Witch from Mercury. I have me and Millie have talked about that before. The Iron Blood Orphans ones are less, you know, common, I'd say, these days, because, you know, tourists being tourists, they don't really talk about as much as they used to. But there were some that absolutely glazed Barbatos as the strongest Gundam. And that kind of came to mind. So I posted this, you know. I posted this. I talk about how, you know, the people who glaze Barbatos and say he's the strongest Gundam, and I'm like, how is he supposed to be the strongest Gundam when you've got these 4 Gundams who can, like, you know, as I put it, discombobulate you on the atomic level, spam infinite nukes and, you know, destroy you kill you with matter-destroying nanites, cut moons in half, infinitely reshape themselves and repair themselves and have quantum immortality, and just you know, and literally just exists like Gundam Phoenix exists outside the laws of physics. You can't beat that, all right? Time and space mean nothing to it. Like, Phoenix could beat fucking Goku in a fight. Like, what kind of chance does Barbatos have? Who's like, you know, whose strength is being, oh, I'm kind of fast and can swing a mallet, okay? Barbatos can't fly. Yeah, that too. He can't fly. Like, yeah, like legitimately, what the fuck is he supposed to do against that, right? Against any of these. And these are just the extreme examples, right? Like these are just the extreme, and for added context, for those who don't watch Gundam, Barbatos is from an alternate, from one of the alternate universe Gundams. Mighty Strike Freedom here and ELS Quanta are also from alternate universes, while, you know, Phoenix here and Turn A are from Universal Century, but they were literally built like 3,000 years apart, and the Phoenix fucked off to like, we don't know where Phoenix fucked off to, but because Phoenix, which is literally a sentient machine, was like, fuck this shit, I'm out, right? And fucked off to God knows where, right? But beside so there's pretty much no chance that most of these machines would ever fight each other. Two of them aren't even from the same universe, because there's alternate universe Gundams. You can go watch the video I made on getting into Gundam for more info on that. But yeah, I was just like, you know, joking around, doing a little power scaling, right? And then this person spoke up. This person spoke up, like screaming about stop spreading misinformation. Like okay, if you all you need to see is their screen name, Miss Barbatos. They out themselves as a tourist by saying they're only into Iron-Blooded Orphans and G-Witch. So obviously we can tell what kind of person this is. They are just mad that I brought up the fact Barbatos ain't all that in terms of Gundam. Yeah, exactly, Ramen. Okay? Can I find my post? Oh yeah, my post response was, I don't know, you know, just quoting myself. I really don't like quoting myself, you know. I have to point that out. I really don't like doing that. I don't like tooting my own horn too much. But I just point out the obvious, which was, I don't know how these people can see the words, if I recall correctly, a direct declaration of someone potentially misremembering and thinking it's malice. Oh wait, I figured it out. They're an IBO and G-Witch tourist, which they are, you know? They are. All right, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that in a minute. And this set off, let's see. This was the, these are the people, okay, so obviously this apparently caught wind in the Gundam community, I guess, you know, community, air quotes. And these people started showing up. Let's quote the chimp out, all right? Let's quote the chimp out. Don't act like you interact with people you think are wrong with any form of politeness you're asking for now. Let's see what we have here. Hate on G-Witch, hate on IVO, call someone tourist because they like it. Yep, we got a LARPer here and not even a good one. What next? Wing and G Gundam are trash too because they're not realistic. That one's funny to me because, you know, we all know I love G Gundam, and I've literally been saying recently I've gone back on my opinion of Wing because I hadn't seen it in 20 plus years, and I'm rewatching it now and I actually like it. I do find it funny when you of all people call someone a tourist. LMAO, shut the fuck up, tourist. You misunderstand Gundam to an embarrassing degree. Oh wait, here we go. Here's the one, everyone. Here's the one that always comes up. Aren't you the guy who got ran out of the Warhammer community for being an asshole? Culture war troll Canoein, you know, correcting this, I'm guessing man's grammar and how bad it is. Known for joining, oh, here it is again. Known for joining new communities every time he finds something woke and he has a tantrum. Calls known community member a genuine human being a tourist. This is always so funny to me whenever I see this. Like, this actually makes me crack a smile and, you know, chuckle to myself a little bit every time I see this. Because they act like I'm trying to join their little gay club. Like, they think because I bring up that I like something, I want to be part of their gay little club, their gay little clubhouse, or they do gay little clubhouse things and don't actually like, you know, they have nothing but contempt for the thing they claim to like. Why the fuck would I want to? When you people act like this, why would I want to? Like, good God, man. Look at you. Who the fuck are you? Oh, there we have it. Guys, look at the banner. Look at the banner. Listen, man, they get mad at me. They never say I'm wrong. Oh, that's rich. That's rich. Okay, let's read this person's bio. What if Theodore from Alvin the Chipmunk snapped? What if Goob took estrogen? Welcome to my twisted mind. She, depending on eczema or IBS 23. Oh, hello. I swear I didn't do it, officer. Welcome to the stream. How goes it? We're laughing at Gundam tourists right now. Oh, well, specifically Gundam community, air quotes, members. But being a member of a community and being a tourist are basically synonyms, let's be real. But, right, so, okay. All I need to know here, hold on. I want to do some math. Real quick, right? I do the math, all right? Let's see, let me type this up. Google, no. How many years ago did Gundam Wing come to the United States? All right, Google, don't fail me now. Mobile Suit Gundam Wing first came to the United States 26 years ago, premiering on March 6, 2000. It was the first series of the Gundam franchise to air on American television, debuting on Cartoon Network's Toonami programming block. Okay. I was a fan of Gundam for 3 years before this person was born. By the time this person was born, I had watched, in totality, Gundam Wing, Gundam X. And X is a major one because X didn't get brought to America for a while because it flopped in Japan. 0080, 0083, the movie trilogy recut of 0079. We didn't get 0079 in America for a while. And G Gundam. Wait, was G Gundam? When did G Gundam, was it, wait, okay, maybe not G Gundam because I forget the exact year it came here. G Gundam come to, wait. How long ago did G Gundam come to the United States? Let's look that up. 23, okay, yeah, NG Gundam. I had watched all those series before this person was born. But I'm the tourist, apparently. And the person who wasn't even a beat a sweat on their dad's ball sack is apparently the elder authority here. All right, let's continue. All right, hold on. That was, right. So, okay, we're gonna, you know what? No, we're not gonna, all right, yeah, backing up. Okay, here we go. This guy, Zigumpft. Calibarn Burner on Blue Sky. Hey, guys. You know what Gundam series Calibarn is from, right? I'll give you 3 guesses. You're only gonna need one. I'll give you 3 guesses, but you're only gonna need one. Bohemond, we have no need of tourists like you. You don't belong here. Get the fuck out, tourist. What the fuck are you gonna do, buddy? Oh, okay, Calibarn? Calibarn is from The Witch from Mercury. Calibarn is from Witch from Mercury. It was the second Gundam, the main character from Witch from Mercury piloted. So that is another person openly identifying with Witch from Mercury. So far, the trend remains unbeaten. But right, let me reread their quote. Bohemond, we have no need of tourists like you. You don't belong here. Get the fuck out, tourist. All right, let's check their account. All right, let's see. They openly have, you know, again, their Blue Sky account name. By the way, anybody on Twitter with, you know, Blue Sky, their Blue Sky name on their account automatically loses their right to free speech, as far as I'm concerned. Hold on. PSN Zabania. All right, hold up. I need to look something up. Okay. In their defense, Zabania is from Double O, but I mean, could also be fate related. I don't know. Blue Sky's a far left cesspool at this point. And listen, remember, if you ever want to think somebody with their Blue Sky name in their, you know, Twitter handle is trustworthy, just remember the major pedophilia problem that Blue Sky has. I'm a little afraid to scroll down because oh, hey, look, he's living rent free in I'm living rent free in his head. Let's see. All right, they're bringing up the weirdos who, by the way, they do exist, who try to say, I pointed out there are legitimately people who say Zeta Gundam isn't canon, and guess what? Those people do exist. It does not matter what this guy says. To him, they don't exist because I pointed it out. All right, let's see. What he just gets flashbanged with? Weird fucking porn. You know these people. Okay. Let's see. Oh, this guy. It's incredible for you to talk about tourists when you only started posting about Gundam because you raged out of Warhammer. You are the ultimate tourist. Yeah, okay. We're gonna need to do an aside here, and this was what I was saying a little earlier, but we're gonna do a little more about it. So, there's absolutely a kind of mentality with these community creatures, right? They seem to believe that, you know, by talking about the thing they claim their community is about, that you're trying to join the community. Like they can't, and they don't have the mental capacity. They don't have the mental capacity to visualize that you can like a thing and want nothing to do with the community. They really can't, they can't visualize it, right? They can't visualize it. They don't have that mental capacity. This person cannot imagine that I just enjoy something for the sake of enjoying it. Because people like this only enjoy something for parasocial reasons. They don't actually like Gundam. They don't actually like Gundam. They enjoy the parasocial feeling of being around other people who pretend to like Gundam. And this is how it is with every community, not just the Gundam community, the Warhammer community, Star Trek community, Star Wars community, fucking you name it. That's what it is. That's what community is. It's just parasocial behavior dressed up as pretending to enjoy something, when most people in the community of something have nothing but contempt for it. Like, that's really what it is. And then, you know, he fires back then because I point out, you know, the shit I got into Gundam with, you know, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. I told you guys just now. So I told you I told him how long I've been watching Gundam, like I told you guys. And then he says the following: I'm not an anime casual. I watched DBZ on Toonami as a kid and even watched the Tree of Might movie on VHS. Your story is the most generic way of any English speaker was introduced to Gundam. Wild to try to claim Wings Toonami broadcast is somehow so OG. It was before I was born, lol. So by his logic, you can never actually get into Gundam, like at all, in any way, because there'll always be somebody who got into it after you. I'm guessing is the logic. I don't know. I mean, this isn't logic to begin with, so yeah. Let's look at this guy's account. Tevi57. Eclectic nerd, anti-authoritarian, anti-capitalist. Really? Anti-capitalist. I'm just letting that flop on the table and steam for a bit, you know? Anti-capital, I'm sorry, but if you identify unironically as anti-capitalist, you need to throw away everything you own related to any franchise you claim to love.
I think what is happening with you specifically, a lot of Twitter people really can't handle being told they are wrong on a topic they have been following for a while by their standpoint.
I don't even, you know, hipster, I don't even think it's that. I don't even think it's that, because a lot of these people are not like, you know, longtime fans of Gundam. They're not. They got into it pretty much during COVID. Like pretty much during COVID. A lot of these people that form rabid communities are COVID tourists in whatever the fuck thing they formed a community around, you know? Pronouns and commies, of course. Yeah, exactly. Listen, nobody tell people like this that they would have been executed in, you know, in a communist country, because communist countries have a notoriously poor perception of LGBT people and non-whites. And, you know, yeah. Listen, never ask an anti-capitalist modern American communist what people like Che Guevara had to say about, you know, LGBT people and, you know, black people. Never ask them that. They'll lose their fucking mind. We have the conversation about corporatist issues with Anaheim Electronics. Yeah, but the thing is, that approaches it with like, you know, a nuanced degree of discussion and floating the idea of it. And not just the usual commie trash of, oh, we're not allowed to have private business because the bourgeoisie is evil, or whatever the fuck they call that bullshit, right? Anti-capitalist is a fancy way of saying you're a commie. Absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, more to the point, yeah, this guy, like, I don't know, like, you could probably, like, go back, pretty far and not see him bring up Gundam before, you know, 2020. I don't have the intestinal fortitude to actually scroll that far on this guy, or scroll at all. That was him. All right, that was that. All right, where are we going now? Where are we going? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Jesus Christ, you tourists act like this is the first gay relationship in Gundam, and it shows. If a little bit of Yuri is enough to turn you off, then maybe the anime side of the hobby isn't for you. Legitimately, one of my favorite Gundam animes is Double O. Double O is a gay couple in it. Like the season 1 main villain, Alejandro Corner, is gay. So like, yeah. Openly gay at that. There's a scene in the movie recuts where he has this freshly fucked Ribbon Zalmark. It's really funny because these people don't like to bring that up. They love to, like, they legitimately, like, this person will unironically go on to say at some point that Soletta Mercury was the first gay, like Soletta Mercury and Miorine, or however the fuck you pronounce her name, and no one likes to pronounce her name because it's fucking annoying to pronounce, were the first gay characters in Gundam. They will unironically say that and then go back and say, you know, they'll say Gundam is woke now, and then go back and say to someone like me, you know, they'll go back and say Gundam was always woke because it always had gay characters, but you'll never bring up Alejandro and Ribbon's fucking. You won't bring up the guy in Turn A who was, the blonde-haired guy who was creeping on Lauren the whole time. He was written to be gay. He was written to be gay, but they wanted to make it more open, but they decided not to. But what do you call it? But yeah, no, he's creeping on Lauren all the time and trying to convince him to present as a girl. Tamino, what did you mean by this? Then there was also the one guy from Narrative. I forget his Brick. I think his first name was unironically Brick. Hold on, if I remember this correctly. Yeah, right here, Brick Teclado. That is, his first name is unironically Brick. And yeah, no, this character is gay. Like he straight up, you know, states at one point that he's the one female character's bodyguard because he has no interest in women. Like, yeah. So listen, fucking, you gotta stop treating Soletta Mercury and Miorine, or however you pronounce it, as like special. Because I mean, they're not gay. It
doesn't matter, Marshal Beaumont. Crossbone Gundam is the best Gundam.
Well, I mean, yeah, but sadly, it's not going to be canon until it's been animated. You know, because we got which, believe me, listen, some people think I say that just to like, you know, because I like, you know, the origin in Thunderbolt. It's not. That's Sunrise policy. I fucking love Crossbone. I want desperately Crossbone to be canon, but it's just not until it's animated. That's just how it fucking works. I don't say things for bias reasons. I say things because they're truth. If I learn otherwise, I will say the otherwise thing. But hey, guess what? The world doesn't care what I think. Only the reality matters. But yeah, no. More to the point. Yeah, no. Like, I just think it's funny how they glaze Soletta and Mjolnir as like the first gay characters ever in Gundam, and then like this guy beat them to it by like a couple of years, as did Alejandro Corner, as did you know, I gotta remember the name of that guy from fucking, you know, from Turn A. I gotta remember his name, but him. Fucking, and don't forget the deliberate Fujoshi baiting in Gundam Wing. I'm not gonna say Ketra and Troa are gay, but fuck me, man. The writers were hinting at it. They're not, don't get me wrong, but fuck me, man. The writers hint at it. But yeah, no, and Soletta and Mjolnir, again, in canon, in the show, never get together. There's nothing to indicate they're lesbians, like, at all in the show. It is all fan fiction. And I will repeat the salient point. It does not matter what the writer said. Oh, hello.
What did I miss?
Oh, hello, Nesco Nikolov. We're talking about how obnoxious Gundam community tourists are. But, right. Yeah, it does not matter how much, you know, they try to say Soletta and Mjolnir were the first gay Gundam characters. They were beat to the punch years later in Gundam animes that I unironically love, that, you know, and then they didn't actually put it in the fucking show. It doesn't matter if the writer said they got married in the end a year after the show came out. The show never said that. The writer had their shot when writing the show, and they didn't pull the trigger. You got a problem with me saying that? Take it up with Sunrise and the writer. The writer was a coward. Sunrise dictated that, you know, it's not canon. Don't yell at me. I'm just the messenger here, okay? Yeah, they kept the bullet in the gun. Yeah, exactly, you know? And, okay, where the shit, there was that guy. Oh, here we go. Okay, so I told you earlier, let's open up fucking, okay, because I got that Delty tourist, I got him blocked, because Delty's fucking useless. Like, I think it's telling to me that, you know, I managed to find somebody in the Gundam, air quotes, community as worthless as Bitshammer was in the Warhammer, air quotes, community. The fact I found somebody that even more worthless is like telling. Cause at least Bitshammer was like, you know, directed to by Games Workshop for a bit before he went off the deep end with the woke bullshit, you know? Bitshammer, reminiscing on that guy a little bit, like I looked into Bitshammer's history as a person, and he actually used to be kind of cool, you know? He didn't want female space marines. He didn't want, you know, he didn't want female space marines or any of that. He legitimately loved the Sisters of Battle as a faction. He thought they should be the primary representation of women for, you know, equivalent to the Space Marines. This is like back in his Daka forum days. I look back into it, and it's really sad because he was kind of a cool guy back then, and then he just went off the fucking deep end. I would imagine it was probably around like, you know, Trump administration kind of when it happened. That happened for a lot of people. There were a lot of people who were anti-SJWs on the Tumblr days, who, when Trump got elected, went full woke. We're talking like full throw anyone right of extreme left into camps woke. I really, like, man, I'm legitimately glad Trump mind broke these people because it really outed a lot of the potential rats in our midst. But yeah, no, Bitshammer used to be cool. And I kind of regret that he became such an awful person. Like, legitimately. I don't know. It's like, I think the ultimate thing to remember before we go a little any further into this, people like this are genuinely sad people. They've genuinely got problems they don't want to address. A lot of them get into the community thing because it lets them pretend that they can matter in some way, you know, that they can matter and that their social problems in real life don't exist. And they can just, you know, because they don't actually love the thing they talk about, they love the parasocial aspect. So they can get that, they can jockey for position in the community and get that kind of parasocial, you know, that parasocial dopamine rush that they need to make it through the day. It's why I'm so glad I don't rely on the internet for attention, you know, for like, you know, socialization and all that, for feeling like I matter as a person. Because let me tell you something. I talked about a bit of the sci-fi setting I'm working on. It got seen by like over 76,000 people and it's approaching 2,000 likes on Twitter. That attention scares the shit out of me, all right? That attention scares the shit out of me because I'm really not, because I thought I posted it thinking it wouldn't get noticed and it got noticed. And now I'm kind of freaking out a little bit, all right? I was not ready for it to get noticed at all. And I kind of don't want that attention right now, but now I can't take it back. But all the same, I never, if you're getting into something for, you know, the parasocial reasons, like the tourists who occupy communities and try to become community representatives do, you don't really like the thing. You don't really like it. You don't like it. You like the fact you can pretend to like it and get people to like you. It's narcissism. It's narcissistic in nature. That's the problem. They love the lifestyle aspect of it more than the franchise itself. Yes, exactly. And the thing is too, and you see this more and more, honestly, is the fact that I think I pointed this out a little bit earlier. The contempt for the thing they claim to like is so common. And we're gonna get into that in a bit. Ad break coming up in a minute. I'm going to go to AFK while the ad break is playing out on Twitch. I will be back when it's over. So that's gonna start in roughly 40 seconds. I will be back. You know, when the ad break is over, I will be back. Everybody hang on to your butts. You know, we're going AFK now.
Yes, clear. Loud, clear. Pacific. 4423 live. We'll get them all to station.
Amanda, C7?
Yes, ma'am. We'll be clear, and 233 will be clear on the end for E. Edward, and so we both be a 50. 224, I was going out there. 233 will be clear on the end for E. And so we both be a 50.
Yes, clear.
Loud, clear. In the suspicion. Pacific. 4423 live. We'll get them all to station.
Amanda, C7?
Yes, ma'am. We'll be clear, and 233 will be clear on the end for E. Edward, and so we both be a 50. 224, I was going out there. 233 will be clear on the end for E. Edward, and so we both be a 50.
Yes, clear.
Loud, clear. In the suspicion. Pacific. 4423 live. We'll get them all to station.
Amanda, C7?
Yes, ma'am. We'll be clear, and 233 will be clear on the end for E. Edward, and so we both be a 50.
is clear.
Loud and clear.
On the intercom. C7.
Yes, ma'am, we'll be clear, and 233 will be clear on N4 E Edward, and so we both be a 50. 224, I was going out there. 233 will be clear on N4 E Edward, and so we both be a 50. Radio is 6390 Clarksville.
Sound to Central Pacific.
Houston, is clear.
Loud and clear.
On the intercom. C7.
Yes, ma'am, we'll be clear, and 233 will be clear on N4 E Edward, and so we both be a 50. 224, I was going out there. 233 will be clear on N4 E Edward, and so we both be a 50. Radio is 6390 Clarksville.
Sound to Central Pacific.
Houston, is clear.
Loud and clear.
On the intercom. C7.
Yes, ma'am, we'll be clear, and 233 will be clear on N4 E Edward, and so we both be a 50. 224, I was going out there. 233 will be clear on N4 E Edward, and so we both be a 50. Radio is 6390 Clarksville.
Sound to Central Pacific.
Houston, is clear.
Loud and clear.
On the intercom. C7.
Yes, ma'am, we'll be clear, and 233 will be clear on N4 E Edward, and so we both be a 50. 224, I was going out there. 233 will be clear on N4 E Edward, and so we both be a 50.
We're back, everyone. Sorry about the break. Right. Again, that was for the people on Twitch's end. The ad break there. But right. Okay, so where were we? Right. Delty. Okay, so like I said, legitimately a worthless person. All right, but that's neither here nor there. Honestly, the only reason I even remember him at this point is because he got brought up in this instance. But like, they've been okay, well, first of all, on the, the Soletta Miorine topic, they've been posting this the whole time. Like, I wish you'd listen to your sister-in-law. Okay, listen. And I even think it's funny because he got this guy over in the corner. Bridget moment for the Gundam community at large. This will not happen. This will not happen if there's a sex. Okay. I find that funny because okay, this guy. Well, I find it funny because if we're like strictly objectively speaking, no, Bridget is a femboy. There is literally nothing in any canon publication of Guilty Gear, like of Bridget, saying Bridget is trans. It's legitimately I've pointed this out before. We've talked about that topic before. It's always funny to me how the strivers, who are very, by the way, strivers are very much like, it's very much a thing like the community fandom dichotomy. A Guilty Gear fan likes Guilty Gear up to Strive and doesn't like Strive because Strive sucked. A striver only likes Strive and only likes Strive because of Bridget. Like, they have nothing but contempt for Guilty Gear, but yeah, you get my point. But yeah, it's like, they say the following, and this will not happen if there's unironically, this could mean anything. This could be playful banter between people. Where the fuck in Witch from Mercury, if we're being completely objective here, was the scene that confirmed anything? Where was an I love you? Where was a kiss? something, you know? Why would you leave it up to interpretation like this? And don't get me wrong, I know why, because Yuri writers, it's really funny to me how the LGBT community glazes Yuri so much, because Yuri really has a bad habit of doing the thing where at the end of the story, the two characters just remain friends, and Soletta and Miorin are no different. And those, like, you know, it's the kind of thing where it's like the story will heavily imply they're lesbian and then like swerve at like the last minute. And the thing is too, your average Yuri story will go harder with it than Witch from Mercury did. So yeah, like Witch from Mercury isn't even good Yuri, for fuck's sake. So I don't know why, again, I don't know why it glazes so much, but again, anything to actually confirm it, then it's something that can be misconstrued, you know, as a confirmation, actual objective proof, something to show that, you know, these two characters are actually in a relationship together instead of just friends. Like, holy shit. I haven't seen the anime, you wouldn't know. Yeah, no, you're not missing anything. It's mid. It's painfully mid, honestly. It is a painfully mid anime. You're not really missing much by skipping it. It's one of the ones, if maybe we'll watch it on the Discord server one day, but it's ultra low priority. It's honestly lower priority than Gundam Age, and that's saying something. This in the, I put it up to the fact that they did a time skip at the end because they didn't have the episode count to do everything they wanted. Well, then they should have put it, listen, it's like I said, they had 24 episodes to confirm it, and they didn't. So yeah, I don't care what the writer says a year later. The writer had 24 episodes to confirm it and didn't do it. If you don't put it in the show, it's not canon. You can't make canon via a published interview years later. That is not how canon works. They Yuri bait themselves so much and badly that they forgot that they are part of a franchise that allows it. Yeah, exactly. And it really is funny to me. It really is funny to me that you know, they, you know, because they get so I likened it. I posted about this, but it, honestly, it feels like with, you know, communities, it feels to me, hold on. Have you talked about the guy who issued a challenge to the Helldivers 2 only to get his life ruined by the community? Oh, we're gonna get into that. We're getting to that. We're focusing right now on this example group, these people. But yeah, because like, okay, like let's like, and communities are fucking toxic as hell. Have you ever noticed that? Because you know, Nasco, you just brought it up. You know, the Helldivers community recently, you know, actually, you know what? Going into Sylvie Close's post here, actually not a bad idea to bring up the Helldivers 2 thing. Because, I mean, we saw what happened with the Helldivers 2 community recently. They fucking doxed this dude, got him fired from his job, and like, you know, it basically ruined his life. And the reason was because he challenged the devs. He would pay them $1,000, well, $1,000 to a charity of their choice, to beat a level 10 mission on Oshun. Like, that's it. That's all he did. And the fucking Helldivers community eviscerated this guy. They eviscerated this guy. They doxed him. They got him fired. Like, his life may be ruined. And all because he pointed out that the devs don't know how to balance their game. Like, and again, the Gundam community tourists think I want to be part of something like that. Why the fuck would I? Why would I? Because the Gundam community's no fucking better. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Bringing up this Witch from Mercury canon shit is probably gonna get me doxxed at some point. I accept that. It's gonna happen one day. Like, probably, if I piss this community off that much, because they're a bunch of toxic psychopaths. And the thing I was talking about is that a lot of these communities, you know, I likened it to an allergic reaction, you know, how they think you're trying to become part of the community and overreact to the point like this, where they just become more insular, more violent, more, you know, toxic. Just like how an allergic reaction, you know, overreacts to something it perceives as a threat falsely and hurts the body as a result. But speaking of fandom toxicity, let's talk about Sylvie Close here, Mecha VTuber, self-proclaimed Gundam fan, Gundam community representative. Now, this was the person I quote tweeted earlier. About, you know, Barbatos getting shit mixed by a GM. That kind of fired all this off. And that's going to come up again later, right? But she had the following, you know, to say. She had the following to say. And honestly, this is like, okay. It's pretty funny to me how people hate the idea that Soletta and Miorine are married so much that they pretend the ending from Witch from Mercury can't exist and live in their own reality. Just shows you the world is full of old types. Will evolve into new types one day. So, let me get this straight. You think straight people are old types and we need to evolve into new types. For the record, Sylvie Close is a lesbian or bisexual, but she's in a relationship with a woman, right? Like that's an open fact. That's not like a dox or nothing. So what you have is a potentially bisexual or lesbian woman using coded language to describe straight people as unevolved and LGBT people as superior. And don't get me wrong, the LGBT community, because we're talking about communities, at this point in history is just a supremacist movement. It is just a supremacist movement. It is more directly a transgender, it is a female to male transgender and lesbian supremacy movement. There was one guy in the replies to this. Let me find him. I called her out on the coded language. And this motherfucker spoke up. Now that's intentionally misunderstanding what they're saying, that the old types are people who refuse to acknowledge their marriage, and new types being those who understand and accept the marriage per the idea that new types evolved from humans understanding. Come on. I pointed out how I left the LGBT community years ago, which I did because it was going crazy and I didn't want to be part of it. Now listen to what this guy says. No, it clearly does work. Just because you apparently don't want to identify with the community you are part of, because you are inherently part of it due to your orientation, doesn't mean it has no credibility either. Actually, that tanks your credibility as a gay man. Let's reread that. Just because you apparently don't want to be part of the community you are a part of, because you are inherently part of it due to your orientation, doesn't mean, okay, that's the wording right there. You're in the LGBT community whether you want to be or not. So you better shape up and toe the line, right? Now look at these two getting mad at, me saying this like it's some kind of crime that I'm not allowed to just say how a show ended, right? Because guess what? These people believe I'm part of the Gundam community because I brought up that I like Gundam. We keep coming back to this point. They act like I'm trying to either worm my way in or am part of it vicariously through the fact I enjoy a thing. This is cult mentality. This is cult mentality. Like, that's all this is. I don't care if it's being LGBT. I don't care if it's a franchise, whatever, right? The modern concept of community is cult mentality. And and again, we've got Sylvie here saying straight up, the old type straights need to evolve into the new type LGBTs. And she's apparently heard of me because like this weirdo with his shitty looking self-drawn profile pic. That Marshall guy's in the screen cap is a rock solid level tourist, by the way. I want to point out, comparing me to rock solid is a fucking compliment. He mostly LARPs being a Warhammer fan and harasses actual Warhammer fans, including those of LGBTQ plus identity, obviously, but occasionally tries to worm his way into Gundam. And just, I've heard the stories, haha, you see. And worm his way into Gundam, I've heard the stories. Like, think about this for a minute, all right? Think about this for a minute. Worm his way into Gundam. How are you as a community stopping me from liking Gundam? How are you as a community stopping me from talking about it? How are you as a community stopping me from watching animes, buying Gunpla? I've talked about this before. I did a video about this before, about how the woke left can't gatekeep, because the woke left has this weird idea that if they can circle the wagons and keep you out from their little enclosed group, that you can't get into a thing. We saw this when these people chimped out over me, saying I like BattleTech. Like, the BattleTech community circled the wagons, said I'm kicked out, and then was like, haha, we kicked Bohemond out of the community, bitch, I wasn't trying to enter. And it's like, watching this happen is like the meme of the cat looking over the snowdrift, like, what are they doing over there, That's what it feels like. It legitimately feels like that. It's fucking hilarious. This is, okay, but, and here's the thing, here's the thing too, I called out Sylvie's, toxicity, like, making these assumptions about me, like that I hate gay people. I'm literally fucking gay, all right? And I really hate the fact I have to bring it up to these people who just make the assumption that no gay person could ever disagree with them because, they're gay, right? Because that's what it boils down to. So I bring up the, I bring up all this, and she decided to cope with the following. Reads tweet mentioning nothing about their personal sexuality, makes it about their sexuality. Well, first of all, Sylvie, you agreed with the guy right above you who said I hate LGBT people. You agreed with him right there in that post. So you saying I'm bringing up my sexuality is a cope. You brought up my sexuality. Now you don't like the fact that I'm telling you you're wrong, that you found out I'm not straight, and now you're coping. Engaging in a discussion when this is the response isn't very productive. I don't think comparing straight people to being unevolved is very productive, Sylvie. Just think it's pretty annoying to deny the very obvious conclusion with an actual scene from the actual anime just because you don't like the writing and try to twist it into your own reality, which I'm not. It is not canon. They did not get married. It was not in the show. You can still dislike the writing, but just outright denying it is different. Nothing is denied. It was not in the show. What would prompt me to want to engage in such a bullheaded approach towards this when a stance is perfectly clear and they probably won't budge? Well, you're not trying to, Sylvie. You're not trying to engage in discussion with me. You're trying to host a classroom. You're trying to host a classroom. You're not engaging in discussion. You might as well say, Ina's pregnancy at the end of 8th MS team could be anybody's kid because you can't even see wedding rings on her and Shiro. That is a false equivalence. You do not need to marry someone to have children. But it is very clear over the course of the show that Shiro and Ina are in love, deeply so. It is very clear. It is present. It is written objectively into the narrative. To bring up 8th MS team, as a comparison to Witch from Mercury, to the supposed relationship between Soletta and Miorin, is a false equivalence. They are not the same. They are not the same in terms of writing. They are not the same in terms of character dynamic. They are nothing alike. I think everybody can tell it's strongly implied that it's his kid without anything actually being said. Well, it doesn't need to be said outright because it's obvious over the course of the show. The problem with the course of Witch from Mercury is that other than the two being forced together because of some weird, and if I'm being honest, kind of creepy, forced corporate marriage shit, like what the fuck was that writing? I'm gonna be completely honest. It was actually kind of creepy. Other than the fact they're forced to be together by like some kind of corporate marriage shit, a forced betrothal, there's no chemistry between them. They don't have chemistry. I kind of wish they got together in the end because, as it is, they're incomplete characters. There's no real capstone to their character arcs. It kind of just ends. So, yeah. I kind of wish they got together because even if it would have been awkward, it would have been something, It would have been something. It would have ended the show in a way that, maybe there could have been a little more to the show than just like, we were just friends all along, which, I mean, you can't just build up characters over a course of a show and then like kick everything out from under them because you only had a 24 episode show and decided not to do any characterization or world building in the second half. Like, you can't do that. Even if a lesbian relationship would have come out of nowhere, and it would have been something to just give these characters something. Instead of just like, show's over. No capstone on the characters, have a good day. Let's see. You don't need to be spoon-fed it to understand that. Yeah, that's my point. That's kind of my point. You don't need to spoon-feed it, you just need to fucking write it. This is writing 101, Sylvie, okay? I can tell, for as much as you claim to love Gundam, you don't know shit about writing. You are utterly ignorant about writing. You know nothing about it. And this line of thinking is very, very clear about that. Old type comment is mostly about how people prefer being ignorant, delusional, instead of actually opening their eyes and evolving. That's Cope. That's her coping for being called out. Nobody is misunderstanding. People are just talking about how canon works in writing. Like, again, this is writing 101. If you don't write it in your story, it didn't happen. You can't go back and say, but the writer said, the writer didn't say it. They didn't say it in the work. It didn't happen. Crazy how people are talking about taking that as a sexual comment when ignorance often leads to stagnation and prevents people from bettering themselves. I find her commenting on ignorance leading to stagnation and preventing people from bettering themselves very funny when you refuse to engage with me in any kind of actual sense and talk about this topic, maybe try to convince me otherwise. Refusing to have discussion. And you see this from woke people, woke weirdos, woke Twitter freaks like Sylvie a lot, where they'll put a wall up in front of themselves, make their statement, refuse to engage with you, and then say, you refuse to engage with me. Yeah, no shit, you don't try to engage with me. You got up on your podium, had your little class lesson, refused to actually listen to what I say, and then you tell me, you're just being ignorant, you don't want to discuss it. Well, maybe I do, but you clearly don't want to. And then you wonder why the fandom doesn't like you as a community member. You wonder why the Gundam fandom doesn't like you versus your own little insular group of tourists who, like, you know, hang on your every word because, you know, you check off the check boxes for representation as a person and you say all the right things. You know, you appease the cult, you appease the community cult, and that's why people like you. I don't think she quite understands that there are people who don't want to be in that kind of environment, who don't want to be in the kind of environment where there's no discussion of Gundam, there are classrooms. Because that's all it is in communities. No one discusses Gundam, no one discusses Warhammer, no one discusses Battletech, no one discusses Star Wars, no one discusses Star Trek, no one discusses any of it. It's classrooms. Approved people set the tone for the narrative, for the argument. Everyone claps their hands, you know, and agrees with them because they want to maintain their social standing in the club. They want to maintain their social standing in the community, and maybe eventually one day start jockeying for position within it. It's a cult mentality. That is how cults work. Communities are echo chambers. Yes, exactly. It's an echo chamber. And these positions, these leadership positions that people like Sylvie has, they only last until somebody in the community cancels her. And don't get me wrong, somebody in the Gundam community will one day have enough of her, build a case, present it to the community, and cancel her. It's going to happen. Like, somebody will find a reason. She'll finally have an opinion on Gundam that the Gundam community doesn't work with, and then they'll come after her. If I had to wager on who would do it, it would probably be a female to male transgender person in the Gundam community who will disagree with Sylvie on something and build a case for cancellation. That is what I think will happen, because that happens a lot in communities, honestly. Find a reason to boot her out. Yeah. And then, I don't know how to say this, but when that happens eventually, I won't be there for it, just because you can do your thing in your little cult all you want. I won't be there for it personally, because I don't want into your little cult that you're a leader in. But when it happens, you're gonna find the fandom that you ridiculed isn't gonna be as welcoming. Because fandoms may not be cults, but fandoms can choose not to engage with you as well, because you were part of the cult that shit talked them and, you know, tried and failed. I will point out, Gundam is Japanese. The Japanese don't give a fuck what you think about Gundam as a Westerner. They won't, no one will want to talk to you anymore because they'll remember how you were as a member of the community. Also, rude of me. Hello, Gingerblades. How you doing? I saw you post there, but I was in rant mode. I feel like, it feels like when I made the Ride Marcena's post on Reddit and comments were split between people who actually choose to engage with the idea and those who forever hate Ride for killing Merida. Yeah, exactly. It's like I've caught flack from the Gundam community for saying I like the character of Ride. I like his character. He's a cool character. He has a good arc where, you know, he has a really good arc where he kind of just, you know, begins falling into this sense of purpose that he feels not sense of purpose, but sense of duty, like a warped sense of duty, you know, that he has because of his family's involvement in Laplace's box and, you know, and all that. He keeps falling deeper and deeper into it, combined with, like, you know, his, you know, the empathic longing brought on by his budding new type powers. He falls into it so much that he basically goes off the deep end, and it takes Merida Cruz dying to knock him out of it and realize he was wrong. And then in the end, he redeems himself by, you know, helping protect, why am I blanking on her name? Minerva, by helping protect Minerva. So, like, yeah, it's like, he has a really good character arc, but, you know, he killed a female character, and in these cults like this, I honestly think it's better to call a community a cult than a community. In cults like this, one of the cardinal crimes is you hurt a female character. Your actual writing doesn't matter. The actual writing of the character doesn't matter. If you hurt or kill a female character, you are completely irredeemable. Look at the My Hero Academia community and how they react to Endeavor, right? Bakugo started that show telling Deku to kill himself, okay? Bakugo started that show, episode fucking 1, telling Deku to kill himself. And everyone glazed fucking Bakugo as like the coolest character compared to Deku. Meanwhile, Endeavor abused his wife and then has an arc through the show where he starts to like realize he did wrong. He starts to realize he did wrong and then starts, failing, I will add, because he doesn't really know what to do, right? To find redemption. And that kind of becomes his character arc going forward. Like he becomes the #1 hero because All Might is finally depowered. And then he has this like realization of, he has this realization of the kind of man he was, largely because he didn't earn the #1 spot in the way he was trying to. And it's a shock to him, and he starts trying to find a way to redeem himself. And because he realizes it's largely because he realizes he can never measure up to All Might. He can never measure up, he can't measure up to him in terms of power, but what he realizes he can never measure up to him as a man. Like as a good man. And it's like at the start, I'd say the motivation is probably a bit disingenuous on his part, but it's the fact that as time goes on, it becomes genuine and he wants to make amends as a man, as a father and a husband. And the community said, oh, he needs to die. He's not allowed to have a redemption arc. Redeeming is problematic. He has to die because he hurt a woman, and you can never do that. You can never do that and be redeemed. That is the original sin. He has to die. There is no curing that. Right up until the end of the show. So that is why the Gundam community hates Ride. Not because he's badly written, but because he hurt a woman. You have to remember, Bo, that the translator changed stuff in the weekly chapters because he didn't like Endeavor, because he couldn't accept that Endeavor tried to change. Yeah, that too. Yeah, of course, the disingenuous localization comes up as well. We need to black bag and jail localizers and Western voice actors, because the Western voice actors, don't get me wrong, they're just as bad. They're just as bad as the fucking localizers. They are in on it, they know what's happening, and they do it anyway. Like, if I was a voice actor, working on, say, Jujutsu Kaisen, and I got my lines where I'm supposed to say that, Kirara is a woman, I wouldn't do that. I'd say he. I'd use male pronouns because Kirara is a guy. Kirara's a femboy. That's the writing. That's what the author wrote. I would not take part in it. The localization, as far as, dubs are concerned, the localization, the rape of anime by localizers only goes as far when it comes to dubs as the voice actor. It is the voice actor's choice, active choice, to read that dialogue out. If voice actors for anime dubs had any integrity, if they got changes like that and knew it was a change, they would not read it. Like with the Dragon Maid thing, the Dragon Maid fucking changes that they did. If the voice actresses got that far and saw this and knew that was not the original dialogue, it is their God-given right, duty, and privilege to not say those lines and say what it actually says. Maybe not word for word, they have to match the lip flap, of course. Like, I understand that. But they wouldn't have said the, patriarchal beauty standards, blah, 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 or whatever. Localizers still can't ruin Araki's works. I mean, yeah, that's true. That's true. There's only so much a localizer can ultimately do, but there's only a few wedge issues they can really worm their shit into. Oh God, you remember that Dragon Age fiasco? I remember that fucking Dragon Age fiasco. No, Dragon Age. Pfft, I'm stupid. Dragon Maid fiasco. Yeah, I was watching Dragon Maid around that time. It was a really good show. I need to buckle the fuck up and watch season 2. Like I really need to do that. It looked fun to watch. I really need to sit down and watch season 2. Those Dragon Maid changes were atrocious. Gamergate was their Vietnam. No. Okay, it's kind of like how with the woke left, you know, like how for a lot of the woke left, World War II is their creation myth. You know, World War II is their creation myth. Hitler is the devil. Nazis are demons. You know, like when I point out this shit's a cult, I really mean it. It really is just a cult at the end of the day. And World War II is their creation myth. Hitler is their devil. You know, Nazis are their demons, and there's no heaven and there's no God. So yeah, no, it's like, it really is a cult. And, you know, Gamergate was kind of their, you know, I don't know what to make a good comparison to, but it was kind of the realization, that very early realization when it was just like mostly isolated on Tumblr. And, you know, you had the journalists and stuff, you know, pushing it, just the journalists. It was their realization that there was really no fixing fandom for what they want, which is why I think the idea of community was pushed in the first place, because if they can like create an insular cult and they can create an insular cult and try to make the people who create focus on the cult and not the fandom, they'll make things to appease the fandom. I mean, they'll make things to appease the cult and not the fandom. And that's largely why I think the push for community happened, like starting around 2015, but also majorly in 2020. Like that's what, like I was saying earlier, that's what really kicked off was 2020, like with COVID. That's when the idea of trying to replace fandom with community really kicked off. We know that in Panty and Stocking season 2, they for some reason encouraged VAs to change the script and improvise lines to make it funnier. Yeah, like, why would you do that? Panty and Stocking was fine how it was. It was fine how it was. Gamergate was the point where they tried to usurp real fans. It was the first time they hit real resistance in their takeover. Yeah, because it was so funny because literally for that whole time up until like USAID started giving BlackRock money to, you know, funnel infinite money into media endeavors to financially sustain wokeness. It like, why do you think get woke, go broke was a saying at first? Because it was true. And then the companies only were able to keep money because literally USAID was giving them infinite United States government money to keep everything going. That died, and now look at it. We're right back to, you know, go woke, go broke, but at a hyper accelerated rate. And Japan got so sick of it so fast that they basically, you know, turned Japan into Chudtopia by kicking all the lefties out of the government. Man, Godspeed, Japan. I salute you. I wish America had like your fucking, you know, testicular fortitude. No, don't get testicular torsion, Japan. That shit hurts. But yeah, no. I wish Japan. I wish America had that much fortitude to just vote all the lefties out. But then again, America has a much more massive illegal voting problem than Japan ever did. The goal was to make the voting problem in Japan like America, but fuck me, did it fall on its face. I guarantee you though, with the mass deportations and with the Save America Act though, and I'm assuming that's gonna go through, I don't think the left is gonna get, you know, elected much going forward. They're already losing voters in key battleground states just by deporting people the way ICE is. That's why they're pushing the rhetoric that ICE is actively trying to kill Americans and not, you know, dumbass Americans dying for assaulting federal officers. That's why they're pushing that so hard, because they know this is literally their last chance to try and, clinch a forever left America. Like, this is their last chance to do it, and they're failing. Thune just killed Save America Act. Well, Trump just said he's going to veto everything anyway. It's going to get through one way or another. I guarantee you that. Still a problem, massive waves of coordinated censoring. Well, honestly, if what Trump needs to do next is needs to kick fucking what do you call it in the ass? He needs to kick what are they called? Payment processors in the ass. We're gonna move off here. We don't need this fucking weirdo's tweet trying to cope about hating straight people on the fucking screen anymore. Oh man, my throat was dry. Jesus. Especially Visa and MasterCard. Yeah, no, they need to listen. All I'm saying is, Tyler Durden was spitting, all right? Bro was spitting. That's all I'm saying. Anchor baby votes down the Palmer line unless we assimilate enough. I'm gonna be completely honest. A lot of people from Mexico, Central and South America who come to America legitimately are incredibly right-wing. Like, y'all remember in the election when Native Americans voted overwhelmingly in favor of Trump? Remember that? I remember that. Muslims are still growing. Okay, I'm gonna bring this up right now. And Megaman actually, let me read what Megaman says, because this ties into it. Brady still have fake conservatives and fake Japanese claiming the admin is importing more Gaijins at a record pace, though gajillions are being deported. Despite the COG and ISFDB, okay. Unironically, we saw this with Iran, right? We've seen this with Iran. The number of legitimate, conservatives who have, come out of the woodwork, to chimp, to chimp out about the war, screaming and crying and shitting about the war in Iran and how Trump has betrayed us and we need to vote blue, guys. Trump has betrayed us. Everybody vote Democrat. And then we could just fight the Democrats later. It's like Jake Shield. Yeah, fuck Jake Shield. My God. Listen, if Jake Shield isn't gay, then his fucking girlfriend pegs him. But yeah, no, it's like all the fucking, conservatives losing their shit over Iran when we have not put boots on the ground in Iran. It has been an air war. It has been entirely an air war, and we have air dominance. We are utterly raping Iran right now. We are fucking their shit up. And can we talk a minute about how boomers and conservatives and leftists are being completely fucking one-shotted by AI footage of Iran? Can we talk about that for a minute? Jesus Christ, man. It's they believe fucking anything. Hold on. Do I still have that bookmarked? I don't. Fuck. Hold on. Can I maybe find it? Okay, I found it. Okay, here it is. So here's this footage out of okay, so this is footage out of Iran today. Okay. So this is obviously a very large explosion, yeah? This is a very large explosion. But it's very obviously a conventional explosion, you know? It's very, hold on. Still lame to spend, hold on. Still lame to spend resources for Israel's, all right, okay. I'm gonna derail the stream right there. This is not for Israel's benefit, all right? All right, and listen, I'm just gonna say this. I'm getting sick and tired of the left and the right, both at the same time, being like, the Jews, I'm getting really sick of that shit. Like everyone's saying, oh, this is for Israel. Israel wanted this. Israel, no. Iran is a regional threat. They want a nuclear weapon. They've been sponsoring terrorism. Terrorists who've been shooting at American ships and American warships and civilian ships. I don't care if Israel stands to tangentially benefit from Iran getting blown the fuck up. This whole, we're fighting, dying for Israel thing. We're not dying for fucking Israel, all right? It's not dying for fucking Israel, all right? It's dealing with a regional threat. And I'm really getting sick of people on the left and the right screaming about the Jews all the time when it's literally like, I'm amazed you motherfuckers on both sides of the aisle screaming about the Jews don't just start making out, because you have the same fucking opinions. You're just going to different fucking, leaps of logic to get there. But you're arriving at the same fucking conclusion, and it's fucking stupid, all right? Maybe the reason Israel is the way it is because of all the fucking Islamic militants that are funded by Iran in the region, which they are, I will point out. And personally, I don't blame a country that came to exist and then was immediately tried to be destroyed by every Islamic nation around them for being a little paranoid. I really don't blame Israel for that, okay? I also don't blame Israel for starting a war after 1,200 citizens of their nation were murdered by Islamic militants, okay? I don't fucking care if you think it's a genocide. Gaza brought that on themselves, all right? The fucking Palestine, the Palestinians, they're not a real nation, by the way. There's no such thing as Palestine. They brought that shit on themselves when they got together and decided, hey, it's a great idea? Let's kill 1,200 Israeli citizens. That'll go over well. You know what? I'm sorry. You fucked around, you found out. I don't want to hear no shit about Jewish conspiracy theories and air quotes genocide. They fucked around, they found out. And you know what happened with Iran? They kept fucking around. We blew up their fucking nuke base. We were like, okay, you hit the found out phase. It was just a little found out though. If you stop, you won't find out anymore. And you know what they said? Nah, man, dig that shit out. We're gonna build a nuke. We're gonna build a nuke and we're gonna use it. And you know what? Now they really are in the finding out phase. I don't give a fuck about your conspiracy theories about Jews running America. I don't give a fuck. Iran had this coming. The Palestine had it coming, all right? The Houthis had it coming. They all have it coming. They've been a thorn in the side for international relations, international shipping, the Middle East for so fucking long. It is fucking ridiculous. And I'm really tired of who are effectively just, anti-Semites on both sides of the aisle. And they are anti-Semites on the left. I don't give a shit if you say, and that's the thing too. I'm so fucking sick and tired of people who will call me a fucking Nazi and then turn around and say, the Jews. The Jews, the Zionists. Motherfucker, what do you think you sound like right now? What the fuck do you think you sound like right now saying that shit? But you're gonna call me a fucking Nazi just because I told, LGBT people that, hey, maybe y'all are acting a little nuts and you should dial it back a little bit, all right? And try to be, fit in with society instead of be a supremacist movement. That apparently makes me a Nazi. But go ahead and saying, from the land to the sea, bomb Israel, they can say that and apparently that's acceptable, okay? Apparently that's not Nazi rhetoric. Like what the fuck do I know, all right? What the fuck do I know? I'm just a Nazi apparently, but they can say that shit just fine. Okay, all right, chief. Oh my God. Like, you don't yeah, exactly, but you don't have to like fucking Israel. You don't have to fucking like them. I don't fucking like Israel, all right? They do shit I don't like. I'm not fond of them. They have a right to, their nation has a right to exist. The Jewish people have a right to a nation of their own. I don't have to like them because they do things I don't like. But they're not the ones provoking America to go fight wars in the Middle East, all right? All right? We didn't fight in Afghanistan because Israel told us to. We fought in Afghanistan because 3,000 Americans died on September 11th. And I don't want to hear any of that conspiracy theory cope about 9/11 either, all right? It was Osama bin Laden. It was the fucking Muslim terrorists. They blew up the World Trade Centers with airplanes. They hit the Pentagon, and they were gonna probably hit somewhere else in Washington with that fourth plane that went down. We lost a lot of good people that day to those moon worshiping psychopaths. And I'm really tired of people trying to say, oh, Israel got us into that war. Fucking how? Fucking how? Because let me tell you something, Al-Qaeda wasn't Al-Qaeda, we armed Al-Qaeda. We gave them the weapons to fight the Soviets and they turned their fucking backs on us. That's what makes it worse. We helped them and then they turned on us. And that just makes it worse, I think. We had every reason of our own to go into Afghanistan. And I'm gonna be honest, maybe Saddam didn't have weapons of mass destruction. You know what? I don't really care. We had every reason to go after him too. I don't fucking care. The problem was we didn't after we're toppling them, we didn't let them sort their own shit out and we tried the nation building thing. Which goes back to another rant of mine about fucking war. There's a good reason that presidents like Reagan and, Bush Sr., tried to keep, and Trump nowadays tried to keep wars limited and short. Because the moment you have to declare war, or the moment a war goes on too long, Congress gets involved, and then it all just goes to shit, right? Let me tell you something about Vietnam. It's always like, Vietnam, fucking America lost to rice farmers with pitchforks. No, we fucking didn't. The Viet Cong was basically a non-factor early in the war. We fucking smeared the Viet Cong. We were fighting an actual professional military that had the terrain advantage. That being the North Vietnamese Army, the NVA. The Viet Cong was basically a non-factor early in the war. And you wanna know why we had trouble fighting the North Vietnamese Army? Let me tell you a story. Congress told our Air Force, who had beyond visual range engagement capability, in the F-4 Phantom, a plane designed to engage beyond visual range. That's why the F-4 Phantom didn't have a gun. It was designed to engage outside where the enemy could engage them. Congress told our F-4 pilots and all of our fighter pilots, you're not allowed to shoot down a North Vietnamese plane unless you can visually identify with them. And the North Vietnamese had MiG, was it 21s? Pretty sure it was 21s. Bad with numbers. But they had MiGs, right? The MiGs were built to dogfight, unlike the F-4 Phantom. So Congress basically told our fighter pilots, you have to handicap yourself and put yourself at a combat disadvantage because reasons. They also told us we're not allowed to blow up their SAM. We knew where all their SAM launchers were, okay? We weren't allowed to blow up SAM launchers. We weren't allowed to blow up their air bases. We weren't allowed to actually, touch anything they were actually using to fight us because Congress told us not to. And it was no different on the ground. It was fucking Congress being all fucking politicians who don't gotta fight a fucking war, always being like, hey, so, Can you like tie one arm behind your back and tie one leg behind your back and blindfold yourself and ball gag yourself and, you know, use a wiffle bat instead of a gun? Good luck fighting the war, guys. You know, thumbs up, good luck. And then they wonder why Vietnam took so long. And by the way, while I'm on this, anybody who says we lost the Vietnam War doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about, all right? The Vietnam War was won with the Paris Peace Accords. We got the North Vietnamese to surrender. And then a couple of years later, the South Vietnamese fucked it up and provoked the North, and Saigon fell. We were not in the war anymore. The North Vietnamese fucking, you know, the North Vietnamese gave up. They surrendered. We won with the Paris Peace Accords. And then the South Vietnamese, you know, didn't know how to run their own country because we'd been there so long, fucked it up, provoked a war, economically fell apart because we weren't there anymore and they never had a plan to fix their own economy. And then they lost to the North Vietnamese and Saigon fell. But everybody who teaches you the outcome of the Vietnam War will say that, oh, America lost at the fall of Saigon. We weren't even in the war anymore at that point. We hadn't been for a while. It was like 5 years, something like that. I don't remember off the top of my head, but like, fuck me. We won fucking Vietnam. I'm so fucking sick of people. Like, yeah, Vietnam fucking sucked. It was a fucking sucked. It should have taken that long to get to that point, but thanks, Congress. Thanks for making it difficult. But you know what? We didn't lose Vietnam, and fuck the fucking commie revisionists who push that shit. And the ones who say, oh, Japan surrendered because Russia invaded Manchuria. Japan didn't give a fuck about Manchuria. They wanted to go fight the Russians. They didn't want to surrender. You know why they surrendered? Because Hirohito said that they surrendered? Because we spawned the sun over 2 of their fucking cities, and their cities fucking disappeared to flash a thermonuclear light. That's why. Oh my God. Oh, I just had a moment. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, everyone. We got another ad break coming up in like a minute, and I'm not going to be able to skip this one. 2 nukes and a failed coup. Yeah, right. No, they tried to, the military tried to coup the government in Japan to keep the war going because they didn't believe the nukes were real. All right. They didn't believe the nukes were fucking real. They didn't care about fucking, thank you, honey. I appreciate the head pats. They didn't care about the nukes. They didn't think they were real. They wanted to go fight Manchuria more. They didn't want to give up. Like, they had that dog in them, like, to keep fighting, but they did not want to surrender because of fucking the Russians in Manchuria. It was being convinced the nukes were real and that 2 of their cities were gone that convinced them to give up. Japan isn't innocent with war crimes either. Absolutely. Listen, I want nothing for the best, but the best for Japan. But fuck me, man. Fuck what they did in World War II. They were worse than the Nazis. But okay, we're 10 seconds out from an ad break, everyone. I'm going AFK again. I will be back in like about a little over 3 minutes. So yeah, hold on to your butts. I will be back.
Out there, yes, clear.
Loud and clear.
Command cut. C7?
Yes, ma'am, we'll be clear, and 233 will be clear on N4 E Edward, and 2 will both be assisting. 224, I was going out there. 233 will be clear on N4 and 2 will both be assisting.
Out there, yes, clear.
Loud and clear.
Command cut. C7?
Yes, ma'am, we'll be clear, and 233 will be clear on N4 E Edward, and 2 will both be assisting. 224, I was going out there. 233 will be clear on N4 and 2 will both be assisting.
Out there, yes, clear.
Loud
FPS clear.
Loud and clear.
On man cut. C7?
Yes, ma'am, we'll be clear, and 233 will be clear on N4 E Edward, and so we both be assisting. 220, I was going out there. 233 will be clear on N4 and so we both be assisting. Radio is between Clarksville.
San Jacinto Pacific. What you
Out there.
FPS clear.
Loud and clear.
On man cut. C7?
Yes, ma'am, we'll be clear, and 233 will be clear on N4 E Edward, and so we both be assisting. 220, I was going out there. 233 will be clear on N4 and so we both be assisting. Radio is between Clarksville.
San Jacinto Pacific. What you FPS clear.
Loud and clear.
On man cut. C7?
Yes, ma'am, we'll be clear, and 233 will be clear on N4 E Edward, and so we both be assisting. 220, I was going out there. 233 will be clear on N4 and so we both be assisting. Radio is between Clarksville.
San Jacinto Pacific. What you FPS clear.
Loud and clear.
On man cut. C7?
Hello, I am back. Right, okay. I realized I had a whole moment back there where I just kind of flew off the handle.
Hello there.
Oh, hey, El Moronic Moron, how you doing? Right. Outright. Well, right. We were talking about, we were going to talk about, thank you again, Ash, for the head patch. Okay, you know what? Hold on. Let me, everyone, if you don't already, go give Ash a follow. He streams too. He's sick right now. He was gonna stream this week, but he got sick. So, by the way, Ash, how you feeling? You know, because again, you've been feeling like shit recently. Grinding Space Marine 2 most of the day. I hope you're having fun, dude. But right, we're a little better. It's great to hear, hon. Great to hear. Right, we were gonna talk. I was gonna talk about how the all the AI footage in Iran, like this motherfucker, like this guy here. All right. Thank you. Hey, honey, no problem. It's no problem at all. But right, like this motherfucker, this guy's got this really weird account where he just looks for, he'll keep saying like this guy has fully drunk the Kool-Aid, all right? Like this guy unironically thinks Iran is winning the war. He also has this weird thing where he thinks that nuclear bombs are constantly getting set off all over the world. Actually, hold on, let me find, hold on, I know who I can look up as an example of this. This fat fuck. All right, this fat fuck. Sandersad is a groiper. And listen, I didn't know that, Megumin, but you know what? I could have guessed. But yeah, this fat fuck, all right? Like fun fact about this guy, I looked into this guy's past, right? He's like your average, Trump derangement syndrome sufferer. I looked into this guy's past. Apparently, this guy is so fucking fat he can't get it up, and he had to have all of his kids via in vitro fertilization because he's literally so fucking fat he can't get it up. But wait. Oh no, this isn't him. Hold on. Which one? Okay, which one is the real one? Fuck, I don't know which one is the real one. Hold on. Okay, this is an imposter account. One moment, everyone. I will find the real one if it kills me. All right, here we go. This is the guy. Okay, well, first of all, again, the people who would call me a Nazi, do you want to kick the Jews out of America? Okay, here we go. Iran can crash U.S. markets. A nuke without the nuclear fallout. The end of the U.S. empire and Trump. The end of Israel and Netanyahu. The EU is fucked thanks to the U.S. Thanks to Israel. You can see what's going on. Imagine if anti-Semitism wasn't censored. We could nuke Israel, says that would fit. He's laughing at the idea of nuking Israel. Describing Israel as a state is a insult to all. Fuck off, Kim. No one cares. Like, look at this. Like he really thinks we're losing, right? But what I want to find specifically, I want to find the check his media. I want to find the AI posts he was falling for, because he's like the six. Motherfucker really only has 6 things posted on his whole fucking account? Really? Because this guy for days has been posting AI-generated images, or like AI-generated footage of like fucking, of like all the air quotes horrific damage that is being done to, the U.S. forces. I'm trying to find it. Like, okay, here we go. The U.S. thought it has destroyed Iran's navy. Psych out. Iran was just released this film. Let's check the community notes. Yeah, this is from 2025. This is not from today. And I want to point out, yeah, no, they're not going to win a fucking naval war with speedboats. Here we go. Here's what I mean. This footage from Iran News of Tel Aviv getting hit with these missiles. This video is AI generated and does not depict a real missile strike on Tel Aviv. Yeah, I will. Yeah. Like, let's look at this. Let's look at this Iran News. All right. Oh yeah, because Hezbollah launching rockets toward Israel, like whatever. They deal with that shit all the time. Let's find more of this AI-generated footage. Okay. Iran has more missiles than anyone thinks. Yeah, that's debris. That's footage of debris. Let's see. Okay, this account literally just opened on the 10th, so yeah, that's all they have. Trust 5 speedboats can solo an aircraft carrier in its escort fleet. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, listen, let me tell you something. A couple bajillion rounds per minute from a couple bajillion rounds a minute from CWIS, man, listen. They can just tank it. There's no way those little speedboats are gonna get shredded by CWIS. You trust. Well, let's see. Leaked video from Tel Aviv. Let's see. It's not a leaked video, but recycled material readily available on mainstream media since March 1st, and not hidden. Yeah, it's like he's trying to pretend there's like censorship going on. Like, this guy's just gone full fucking anti-Semite. And he's one of the people, like I'm talking about, falling for AI-generated art. or AI generated art, AI generated footage of AI generated footage of Iran. Not to mention just actual footage that's just been deliberately released as deliberately released in order to spread misinformation. Like, swear to God, all the fucking footage, the AI generated footage, it's one-shotting boomers and conservatives so much. It's so fucking funny, and they're believing everything. There's fucking everything they're shown, and not trying to parse the source of the info or anything. Like, they don't even try to parse it. God, how much in a day does this guy post? Like, even I think I post too much, and this guy's posting too much. Oh man, I'm trying to find it. I'm trying to find some of the shit he was posting. Whatever, I'm not gonna keep searching it. This is fucking useless. This is fucking useless trying to, follow that guy's shit. Oh man, yeah. But screen says /boomer. Yeah, exactly. Hey, Salt, we're talking about how fucking boomers and, rhinos and conservatives are being one-shot by fake AI footage. It's just so fucking funny to me. They unironically believe we're lodged in this, quagmire war where America's losing everything and fucking Delta Force has been defeated and captured by the Iranian special operatives because they're looking at AI-generated imagery, not even good AI-generated imagery, of Delta Force, and some guys have 3-4 arms or 10 fingers on their hands. It's the most obvious shit ever. And it's and they just think we're losing this war. That is not how reality works. I don't know how to tell you this. I will say straight up, war sucks, but this is a necessary war. And this is necessary to dethrone, the Iranian government so they can't have a nuclear weapon. Because you can bet the moment they have a nuke, they're gonna launch a nuke. A nuclear strike will be their first option if they get a nuke. So no, we can't afford to have Iran exist as it currently is. That is just fucking fact. I don't care about the left and the right's, the Jews shit. Iran cannot exist. We cannot have Iran existing the way it is now with nuclear ambitions. That is how the world works. We cannot allow a rogue state with intent to use have a nuclear weapon. Even other Muslim nations have turned on Iran. Yeah, it's people completely miss that every Muslim nation has turned on Iran because the first thing Iran did was attack all those other Muslim nations, bomb them. They didn't go. Iran's first move wasn't to go after our navy; it was to go after their neighbors with missile strikes. What the fuck did Dubai do? They hit Dubai, man. What the fuck did Dubai do to them? They hit Dubai, they hit I think they hit Yemen too, and Saudi Arabia. They hit a lot of people, and it's what the fuck are you, Iran? Oh shit, I was oh shit, motherfucker, what are you doing? I get that we pretty much decapitated their entire command and control in the opening minutes, but they should have had a plan in place on who to launch their weapons at. Not just wherever the fuck they could target, And we think these people can be trusted with nuclear weapons?
Call in the reinforcements.
Oh, hey, Alexio Theris VT, thank you for the raid. Welcome, Raiders. Hold up, let me get you a shout out. There we go. There we go. All right. Hey, how was Hightailed? How was Hightail, dude? We're having fun. I hope you had fun in your stream. I will say though, if you gotta like go and like, you know, if you gotta like raid and run and you know, you gotta go get some rest, that's cool. Yeah, thank you for the raid. Welcome, Raiders. For those who've never met me, I'm Marshal Beaumont, a totally, you know, legally distinct space marine and Templar. Templar. And yeah, Hightail's the better Minecraft. It really is. It really is. Oh, but yeah, no, we're talking about boomers and other people getting, you know, fooled by AI footage of the war in Iran. That's basically what we were talking about when he came in. Like, come on, man. How are you falling for this? Like, how are you falling for this? It's the most obvious AI footage ever. Like, don't you like stop to think, you know? Parse your sources. I'm so glad Community Notes exists on Twitter just because of all the AI war footage. Gotta get some food, you'll lurk for a bit and yeah, okay, dude. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. That's cool. But yeah, no, have we done anything to Iran besides those initial air and missile strikes? No, we haven't. It's strictly been airstrikes. It's strictly been airstrikes. Like, that we have not, there are no boots on the ground. We are not invading. We are basically, you know, decapitating their ability to wage war by taking out their command and control and their launch facilities. And we're also bombing their nuclear facilities again. Draft is back on the menu. No, it isn't. We're never gonna see another draft, I don't think. Iran is the biggest funder of terrorism on the planet. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They're legit funding terrorism. All that shit problems we had with the Houthis, that was Iran. Iran did that. Like, they were funding those guys. Once that's done, we just send weapons to revolutionaries in the countries. It's basically what they're doing. It looks like the Kurds are fighting the ground war right now, which, I mean, good on them. Iran has treated the Kurds like shit for so long. But you know for a fact, you know, all the people who are against the war, like, well, they're the kind of people who will bitch and moan about what happens to the Kurds. But then, you know, we put the Kurds in a situation where they can actually rise up and better their lives. But then they'll complain. They'll complain. It's like, you know, oh, why are you using the Kurds? It's like they're going to be able to like fucking actually maybe, you know, depose Iran's government. Like, fuck, man. Man, I don't know. I usually try to think more of my fellow man than falling for the AI bullshit to the point you honestly believe we're losing this war. But I mean, hey, like, there we are. Iran is pure scum who found, yeah, exactly. Listen, I want to know, I actually want to know who the fuck is, you know, funding Nick Fuentes. Like genuinely funny that, you know, he flip-flops, but him and his fucking groiper dick suckers flip-flop between, and I use that term literally, by the way, because we all know Nick Fuentes is fucking gay, all right? Soros probably. And remember, I'm gay myself, so I can ridicule him. Listen, Listen, Fuentes ain't even in the closet anymore. There's literally footage out there of him sucking Destiny's cock. Wait, no. Destiny sucking his cock. I got it backwards, but yeah. Modern Warfare is about speed, basically. Yeah, it's about getting to the enemy's shit before they get to your shit. Man. Blitz before they get a shot off. And by the way, I think the people trying to say that, the people trying to say that, Iran can block the Strait of Hormuz, is it? Let me make sure I got that right. Yeah, they think they can block the Strait of Hormuz with what fucking navy? Like, with what fucking navy are you gonna do that? Your navy is at the bottom of the ocean, Iran. Your navy is at the bottom. Mr. Personality, look, I'm gonna be real with you. There is no fucking draft going on, okay? There's no fucking draft going on. The only, okay, I listen, I'm entertaining this claim you're making right now, and I'm searching it. Something that was tapped into the NDAA. Listen, man, listen, I'm calling bullshit, all right? I'm calling bullshit. If the draft was coming back, we'd have fucking heard it. I'm sorry, man. Listen, I'm sorry. You're coping right now. There's no draft coming. Like, listen, I'm just gonna tell you that to your face. You're coping right now. You're not happy. You're not happy of myself. Like you're not happy about the war yourself? Like I mean, I get that. Listen, war fucking sucks, all right? But the sad thing is, sometimes you just gotta have one, from your actions. Maritime, hold on. You believe there's a draft, you actually see it, like you never considering the war likely to end the war is going to be over by like end of this week or next week. It's like man, it's just, yeah. The kind of war that the draft would be needed would involve half the planet targeting us and all at once, and even then, that might not be necessary. Yeah, like, exactly. Like, I mean, listen, America has no peer adversaries. You're not talking about the war. What do you... Well, what do you, Dernegatech, what are you talking about then? Like, what are you talking about? Back with some pasta salad, even lurk while he... Yeah, that's cool, dude. That's cool, dude. We like I've said before, we like lurkers around here. Listen, Twitch may not count you, but I count you, okay? I count lurkers. But no, it's like America does not... the draft wouldn't be necessary because America doesn't have any peer adversaries. Like, remember, Iran was using Chinese cruise missiles in the... Iran was using Chinese cruise missiles to attack our ships. They either all failed to launch, fell apart before they reached the missile, or just got shot down. China's equipment is designed to fight people on China's level. China is not on our level. Not even close. China is not winning a war with the United States, and they know it. Or completely missed. Yeah, that too. Like, yeah, like, China is not on our fucking level, all right? China can start this war, start a war with us if they want. They're not going to win. They're not going to win a war with us. They're not going to win a war with Taiwan, all right? Because Taiwan's got our shit, all right? Taiwan's got our shit. China ain't winning no war with Taiwan. Unless they want to send like 1 million soldiers across the fucking ocean. They're just gonna get blown up in their PT boats anyway. The US is so good at this stuff, we give people the stuff we consider outdated, and then most of these people say the stuff that's outdated, we have nothing that compares. Yeah, exactly. Don't go win a war with us, let's start fighting aliens and shit for a real challenge. That's kind of where I am at this point, honestly. Like, we need to get our ass to space so we can find some fucking aliens to fight. America desperately needs a peer adversary. Because we ain't got one now. Ain't China. Certainly ain't Russia. Like, it certainly ain't Russia. Russia couldn't even beat Ukraine before we were arming them. You want to get off this rock? Man, listen, I love our home world too much to, ever fully leave it behind. But I do want to see mankind expand to the stars. We're gonna do that. Because we kind of started this stream talking about, Gundam and Tamino. Tamino by technicality because, Gundam. I personally greatly disagree with Tamino's statement that we can't colonize space because we'll just take war with us. Like, okay, enjoy your place in the dirt. We'll enjoy our place in the stars. I really hate these kind of Luddite ass motherfuckers who are all like, listen. Tamino is a genius writer, okay? I'm not gonna take his opinion on whether we should go to space or not seriously. Anybody who says we shouldn't go to space for whatever reason, we have too many problems on Earth. We can't go to space. We have to fix the problems on Earth. First of all, that's fallacy of relative privation, so that's not an argument. Second of all, we should because it's there. That's the only reason we as a species need. Could be worse, could be Miyazaki malding because his wife is a garden. Man, what a miserable motherfucker Miyazaki is. And for context, we're talking a Studio Ghibli Miyazaki. Like, listen, the worst thing FromSoft Miyazaki ever did to me was make me go through 1 billion poison swamps, and I can forgive him for that, okay? But oh my God, fucking Miyazaki, like Ghibli Miyazaki, is such a miserable motherfucker. The most no fun allowed guy in all of Japanese animation, in all of anime. His reasoning was because he was offended by the tamed nature of the garden. He wanted humanity to die so grass could grow. Oh my fucking God. Oh. Need a stiff drink after that. I think aliens are the only way for every American to be united in wanting to pursue space age tech. No, I don't think that at all. I don't think that at all. Too many Americans have this idea that we have to rely solely on NASA to get to space. And frankly, that's bullshit. NASA has done more to drag us down from going to space since the end of the Apollo program than to bring us up into space. At least a fifth of the U.S. would side with the aliens. Well, then we'd know who to. Listen. Then we'd know who to imprison. All right. Then we'd know who to imprison. Survival of the species trumps all else, and unless we get off the rock and out into the stars, we're on a timer until an asteroid hits or a supervolcano pops off. I mean, I don't think there's any supervolcano that's actually going to erupt anytime in the near future that could actually kill us. A lot of people think Yellowstone might do that. Yellowstone is not in any kind of position to have a supervolcanic eruption, and a lot of people don't realize that. Yellowstone could erupt, but it wouldn't be supervolcanic. It would just be like, you know, Mount St. Helens, basically, or, you know, maybe if we're unlucky, Pinatubo, but it wouldn't end the world or end the United States. But you wouldn't want to be in the region when it happens, don't get me wrong. It would be a regional catastrophe. Yeah, not soon, but still. Yeah, I know what you mean, Salt. I just mean there's still a lot of people who unironically believe that fucking Yellowstone is gonna erupt and wipe America out and destroy the world. Like, there's still people who believe that, but they don't follow this. They don't actually follow the geological science of it. He's a self-loathing otaku. He otaku'd out and set forth on his otaku journey when he developed a crush on the female protagonist of the 1958 film Legend of the White Serpent. Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. Like he's an otaku who became black-pilled, basically. Miyazaki is black-pilled as fuck, and it's kind of funny how it really influences his art, but it makes it, you know, to be really beautiful, but makes him just a shit person to be around. Yellowstone's becoming dormant. Yeah, that's what I've read. It's like, it's at a point where if it erupted, it would not be a world-ending catastrophe. It would be a regional disaster, you know? Not good for anyone in the national park. You wouldn't want to be flying around it either, but it wouldn't destroy the United States, let alone the world. LMAO, not me being obliterated because I'm on the West Coast. Insert snap potato emoji here. Yeah, the snap potato emoji that makes me sad whenever I see it. Man, and I just really wish people would work a little harder to educate themselves on shit. And, you know, actually, like, try to learn shit. Instead of just getting so fucking obsessed with false information all the time. Ash, okay, you're making me sad now. You can stop. You can stop now. Jesus fuck. Ash, I love you, Ash. You're such a fucking troll. You're such a fucking troll, and you're the only person I'll let get away with it. For my knowledge, there's 4 active supervolcanoes that could go eruption on the globe, and the only one that's above the ocean is the Hawaiian Islands. Yeah, exactly. Wait, are the Hawaiian Islands a supervolcano? Hold on. Hawaii super. I never actually knew that, if it is or not. No, Kilauea and Mauna Loa are not super volcanoes. They're just, you know, they're just a very active volcanic hotspots. Hawaii's a shield volcano, but it's not a super volcano. Because I've never heard of it, you know. Yeah, they leak lava. Yeah, they leak lava everywhere. It's like, you know, it's like a, no, I'm not gonna make that comparison. That's fucking gross. That's fucking gross, even by my standards. Shield volcanoes defined by their runny lava that spreads out and forms a wide, short mound. Yeah, I know. Kilauea and Mauna Loa are both. I think they're both active. I know Kilauea just erupted recently. Like I want to say it had another eruption this year. Not as bad as that more recent one. The other more recent one it had, that was really bad. But like, yeah, no, like it had one like a little while back. That one was really bad. I want to say it erupted again this year, but not as bad as last time. I could be wrong though. I just remember hearing about it somewhere. I'd have to look into it. I don't pretend to be up to date on everything. There's way more volatile types. Yeah. Yeah, honestly, shield volcanoes are, you know, they're not harmless, but they're also not gonna blow your mountainside off the map, like say, Mount St. Helens. Big Island of Hawaii is the largest mountain on Earth because its base is under the ocean and not on the surface. Yeah, exactly. Cinder cones are the ones that'll rain rocks on it. That's the one. Yeah, the cinder cone volcanoes. Yeah, they'll just, you know, blow your shit right off the map. This one from how communities are, you know, toxic cults to rambling about war to rambling about people who don't know shit about war to fucking volcanoes of all things. But we've been all over the place on this stream today. Geology, yeah. Man, geology's really interesting. I'm too dumb for it though. I'm too dumb for yeah, I'm too dumb for that shit. I fully admit that. All right. I'm looking for someone to rate. I'm looking for someone to rate on too, and I don't know who yet. So hold on. Hold on. Wait, hold on. I might do a funny here. I might do a funny here. Okay, hang on, everyone. I just want to check one thing before I decide who to rate. I might pull a funny here as a joke. Where is, oh fuck. I literally had the post bookmarked. All right. All right, is it? No, that's not it. That's not it. No, I'm close. I've almost found it. Wait, hold on. I know how I can find it. Are they live right now? No, they're not. I was thinking of rating onto that Mecha VTuber who was talking mad shit about me. You know, I was thinking of rating onto them just to, you know, be the better man, give them some viewers, but I mean, like, whatever, they're not streaming. All right, okay, we're gonna find someone to, we're actually gonna look for someone to rate onto. You know, never let it be said I don't try to be the better man. All right. Okay, you know what? Iron Elf is streaming right now. We're gonna rate onto Iron Elf. Iron_elf_, I believe I spelled that. Right, there we go. Thank y'all for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the stream. I'll be back Friday. Not tomorrow, no stream tomorrow, Friday. I'll be playing Helldivers 2 with with Iron Elf and, you know, and friends. So yeah, that'll be at 6 p.m. You know, collab at 6 p.m. So I will see you then. Everybody take care, you know, have a good evening. Later, everyone.